Assalamualaikum and good morning, Dr. Rizal binti Yahya. Me and my group members have choose to talk about two great company, which is Guangchong Berhad and Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. Guangchong Berhad is a Malaysian investment holding company that manufactures, process, markets and sell cocoa-derived food, ingredient and cocoa goods in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Germany and internationally. Under the Feverish trademark, the firm sells cocoa cake, butter, powder, wine, mass and other associated cocoa products, as well as a variety of nutritious and delectable chocolate-related consumer products under the Cacao Rich brands. The business was founded in 1985 and is based in Pasir Gudang, Malaysia. The group existence began in the early 1980s when it was mostly engaged in the trade of cocoa beans. It began processing cocoa beans in 1983 by establishing a factory in Parit Jawa, Muar, Johor, with the aim of becoming a market leader in the local cocoa processing industry. The management sold the Parit Jawa plant in 1990 and established a new plant in Pasir Gudang industrial area through the group subsidiary Guangchong Manufacturer Berhad. Vision is to be the world most preferred and leading cocoa partner by focusing on the quality of their products and maintain all their manufacturing run smoothly. Mission of the company is to be the most significant source of cocoa ingredient. They offer high quality cocoa and partnership with strong local partners to provide long-term and dependable connection with consumers all over the world. Next, we will talk about Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, a Malaysian investment holding firm, offers catering, warehousing and logistics service at Kuala Lumpur International Airport KIA and Penang International Airport. The firm operates in-flight catering facilities as well as cabin handling service such as cleaning service for pillows and blankets and loading the cabin trolley with product for in-flight purchases, as well as passenger headphones, newspapers and predicators. It also has a portfolio of restaurants and cafes in KLIA and KLIA 2. Furthermore, the firm offers logistic complex in Port Klang, Plaza and General Forsyth bonded open yard stock and non-bonded warehouse, rack and unrack facilities, sprinkler and firefighting system, bonded and non-bonded tracking and customer documentation and clearance service. It also provides value-added service such as warehouse customized to clients' needs, insurance, other picking and use of Tamadam Bank's guarantee facilities, as well as packaging, relabeling and packaging service and warehouse leasing and shipping service. To remain active, Ibrahim's Holding identify and create opportunities by restoring and realigning their core business and skills to fulfill the changing demands of the environment. By rising to the challenge, they strengthen their capacity to develop fresh and rewarding growth prospect and possibility for their clients and themselves. Their cutting-edge goods and service foster an environment brimming with creative zeal. This energy is emphasized by the use of the group's strong corporate colours, maroon, which represent energy and power, and yellow, which represent hope and heritage. When it comes to increasing their market and developing plans to maximize their prospect in ever-changing and ever-expanding market, they employ astute foresight. Thank you.
My name is Izzan bin Sadimin, and I will talk about financial performance for Guangchong Berhad and Ibrahim Holdings Berhad for year 2019 and year 2020. Okay, so for liquidity ratio for Guangchong Berhad in year 2019, their current ratio is 1.51%. For Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, it's 0.66%. So the current ratio for Guangchong Berhad is better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. For cash ratio, Guangchong Berhad have 0.03% and Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is 0.2%. So for cash ratio, Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is better than Guangchong Berhad. While for operating cash flow ratio, Guan Chong Berhad got 0.33%, while Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got 0.22%. So that for year 2019, liquidity ratio for Guan Chong Berhad is better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. For year 2020, current ratio for Guan Chong Berhad is 1.67%. Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got 0.19%. Then cash ratio for Guan Chong Berhad 0.05%. For Ibrahim Holdings Berhad also 0.05%. And last, operating cash flow ratio, we can see that Guan Chong Berhad got 0.29%, but for Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, they got negative 9.04% for year 2020. So liquidity ratio for Guan Chong Berhad is again more better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. Okay, next for question number 2, are the managers generating an adequate operating profit on the organization's assets? Okay, let's see. Okay, in year 2019, we can see that in profitability ratios, Guan Chong Berhad for gross margin ratio they got 13.5%, while in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad they got more than that, 31.8%. So that we can conclude that gross margin ratio for Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is better than Guan Chong Berhad. Next, for operating margin ratio, Guan Chong Berhad got 1.51%, while Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got negative 0.4%. Next, for return on assets ratio, Guan Chong Berhad got 0.11%, and Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got negative 4.5%. Okay, next for return on equity ratio, we can see that Guan Chong Berhad got 0.23% and Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got 75.3%. So it's a big win for Ibrahim Holdings Berhad in return on equity ratio. In year 2020, for profitability ratios in Guan Chong Berhad, okay, so in gross margin ratio, they got 16.55% for Guan Chong Berhad, while in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad they got negative 0.19%. So that Guan Chong Berhad is better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad in gross margin ratio. Next, for operating margin ratio, we can see that Guan Chong Berhad got 1.52%, while Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got 0.92%. Next, for return on assets ratio, Guan Chong Berhad got 0.08%. Then in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, they again got negative 3.24%. Next, for return on equity ratio, for Guan Chong Berhad, they got 0.19%, while at Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, they got 1.75%. So we can conclude that for profitability ratios, Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is better than Guan Chong Berhad. Okay, so next, how is these two organizations financing its assets? So we can calculate this by using leverage ratio. We can see that in year 2019, debt to equity ratio for Guan Chong Berhad is 1.15, while in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad they got negative 4.71. It's clearly for Guan Chong Berhad is better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad in financing. For next, in year 2020, for debt to equity ratio for Guan Chong Berhad is 1.45, and again Ibrahim Holdings Berhad got negative 1.46. So for debt to equity ratio in year 2020, Guan Chong Berhad still winning. Last but not least, Are the managers generating a good return on equity? So we can check and calculated it using efficiency ratios. That is asset turnover ratio and receivables turnover ratio. In year 2019, asset turnover ratio for Guangzhou Berhad is 0.11, while Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is 1.02. So that means Guangzhou Berhad is still better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. While receivables turnover ratio, Guangzhou Berhad got 0.35 days. So for Ibrahim Holdings Berhad is 68 days. It clearly say Guangzhou Berhad is better than Ibrahim Holdings Berhad. For year 2020, in Guangzhou Berhad, asset turnover ratio is 0.07, while in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, they got 1.15. While receivables turnover ratio for Guangzhou Berhad is 2.41 days, while in Ibrahim Holdings Berhad, they got 4.26 days. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, I will explain about success factor and risk factors of Guangzhou Berhad and Ibrahim's Holding Berhad. Success factor: to increase the profit and make the company more success in the future, both of the company can add some or more variation to their products. For example, Ibrahim's Holding Berhad can add more variation to their nasi briyani's product, like nasi briyani's with cheese. Other than that, both of the companies should market and promote their businesses in many ways to get new customers. Last but not least, selling company market share can also make the company more success in the future. Risk factor: both of the company can have internal risk factor that can affect their company's profit. One of the risks is excessive in inventory. Excessive in inventories can happen if the company not following the demand of their products. If this keep on happen, the company will face a huge amount of losses because the product will be a waste if it is not consumed before the expiry date. So, the company must meet their product's demand to avoid the excessive in inventories. Based on financial analysis, we can see that Ibrahim's Holding Berhad has been recorded with loss in 2019 and 2020. This situation can lead Ibrahim's Holding Berhad to the bankruptcy.
Recommendation: Guangzhou Berhad and Ibrahim Holding Berhad both share the same risk of having too many inventories, as can be seen in the annual report. It may occur if businesses do not respond to market demand for their product. There are a few strategies to avoid this waste, and one of them is to minimize the amount of the order. We can avoid a large number of losses since the quantity of things has been reduced, and the product will be a waste if not consumed before the expiration date. Both of the company had climate risk. As for Guangzhou Berhad, climate change is a significant concern since the majority of cocoa bean plantations are situated near the equator, especially in South America and Africa. Reduced rainfall or prolonged drought will reduce cocoa bean yields, resulting in a decrease in cocoa bean supply. I would personally recommend that to create a presence in the world's largest cocoa bean producer by establishing a new cocoa grinding facility there. When completed, the plant will provide us with easier access to large raw material supply and enable us to meet growing customer demand.